I'm Liz Faublas, and this is Currents. There will be no refunds to customers who lost time on their Metro cards when the subways were shut down for Hurricane Sandy. The MTA made that decision late Friday before the holiday weekend, and word is just getting out now. No comment from either Mayor Bloomberg or Governor Cuomo. Both politicians and the federal government are facing increasing criticism as the recovery from the storm moves slowly. In Queens, one Rockaways resident feels abandoned by FEMA.
I definitely know FEMA did not come back, so.
Tell me about that. You said they come by once.
Yeah, they came by once. They asked for a census. They said, do you need anything, food, medication, water? You say, yeah. They said somebody will be back. Nobody was back.
And when was that?
That was Saturday afternoon. They're working on the rest of Rockaway, but Ocean Village is not getting help at all.
Now, the Rockaways have been especially hard hit. All of the debris in this dump is from storm damage. At the same time, thousands still are without power 2 weeks after Sandy struck. LIPA, the Long Island Power Authority, has not fixed much of the damage. The governor still doesn't know when they will, leaving this woman on the Rockaways to fend for herself, her daughter, and her cat.
Me and my daughter has to sleep with our coat on and 5 pairs of socks with 10 covers on top of us. With the cat.
With the cat.
With the cat.
Now, when you're there with your daughter, what do you tell her?
I tell her we're going to be all right. You know, God is with us, and, you know, we're going to have help soon. You know, I trust in our government. You know, we're going to have help soon, and everything's going to be all right.
Well, President Obama will fly over the Rockaways this Thursday with Governor Cuomo. They're not planning to land, however. Meantime, for a 70-year-old Rockaways woman, getting to the next landing in her apartment building stairwell is a daily test of her strength and her faith.
All bundled up, Albina Williams manages a smile before the 70-year-old, yes, 70, makes a twice-daily climb up 6 flights, dragging 4 gallons of water in a grocery cart and a bucket to her apartment.
Is it okay if I help you?
Yeah.
You're using this for what?
Flush the toilet.
I can't imagine how you carry that and this. This is the 3rd floor, right?
Yeah.
You need to rest?
Yes.
Yeah, catch your breath. You're going all the way up to the 16th floor.
Every day. Want to see my gallons? Look.
Albina, I'm going to try to pull this lady's bag up to there, too. What's the bucket? I don't know how you ladies do it. Okay, this is floor 5.
5.
Up we go, up we go. Okay, we made it. This is the 6th floor.
Oh boy.
All right. Albina, how's your breathing right now?
Tired and...
You're okay?
Yes. I'm tired. I'm tired. Rough. It's really rough.
What is it like at night? What are the sounds that you hear? What goes through your mind?
You know, I just try to study my mind and just focus on God.
What was it like the night of the storm?
Oh, that was horrible. Because the light, television go off just like that.
And then what?
Darkness, no light, no water.
Albina, I have to tell you, I'm feeling your hands right now. Your hands right now are frozen.
Yes.
They are so cold. And this is during the daytime when there's light in here.
I put this on, then this is the top, and then I put this over it. And this now I put on a pants under, and put this over it, and then this comforter.
After putting on all those layers and
This
underneath the comforters and all the blankets, is it enough?
I keep warm.
You managed to keep warm. Well, I'm glad it's working, but how long do you think you can go on like
I have
this?
no idea. These are for the bathrooms.
When you're asking them how long will it take for the power, what are they saying?
They're not saying anything more, and they say they don't know. Maintenance, they say they don't know. I'm not hearing nothing.
Albina, what is getting you through all of this?
God, strength, give me the strength.
He's giving you strength.
Yes, God giving me the strength. It's the only God giving me the strength, I'm telling you. Because if it wasn't him, I couldn't pull through this. God is good.
Albina, I wish you a lot of luck, and I hope the power comes back soon.
Thank you.
All right, take care.
Well, she certainly has the power of faith. Now, the care coming from Catholic Charities often is the only help in many neighborhoods. Called an ARC, in the midst of our flood, a relief center is bringing aid to the residents of Red Hook, Brooklyn.
Today we're at Visitation Church of the BVM, and we are working with that parish to help serve the residents of Red Hook and with a coalition here in Red Hook.
This is day 7 since we opened the church to help with the relief effort here in Red Hook.
Our church visitation has been devastated. The water almost went up to the 2nd floor. The church has lost everything.
Life has been turned upside down pretty much for ourselves and for all who live around here in this neighborhood.
I have no hot water. I have no light. I have no heat. I'm living in my apartment with I'm a single parent of 2 boys. You know, I also have disabled neighbors, elderly people. You know, we can't even walk in the hallways. It's so dark in there. It's just so dangerous. So far, I haven't gotten anything. Only the things you guys are providing in the churches and in the neighborhood. That's all the resources that we've been able to get.
Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens is doing here today what we've been doing for the past few days, which is running this site for distribution of water, food, and cleaning supplies for the residents of Red Hook.
We see cars and properties being destroyed in the streets. No elevator service, sir. We have nothing at this time. You know, we want to thank you guys for the support you're giving us because we need it. And I'm a little embarrassed myself, but I have to speak up not just for me, for everyone, every tenant, every person.
If you go inside, it's a beautiful church, and it is like an ark, the Ark of Noah that was saving the people from the flood. And this time the flood came through the hurricane, and this church is an ark. It's giving to people like a place of refuge.
It'll give us a start on there. At least we get some food and we can fix something so we can eat and get warm. At least they gave us blankets too on there. I appreciate that very much.
There's a great spirit of community service among everybody, believers, non-believers. There's the heart of man has been changed from hardness to compassion, love and mercy. And it's beautiful to see this. There's compassion for the old people that are living alone, and people are giving up their lives to help them in all their needs. So this is very beautiful and very inspirational, I would say.
So many good people in this world that just want to give and help. And that's what God expects of all of us, is to, when help is needed, that we are there for each other.
To be the love and the mercy of God, just like Jesus is for each one of us, to save the people, to save them materially, but more important also spiritually. And no matter how bad the situation is, that God is with us and that He saves us and heals us and restores us.
And coming up next, a royal commission investigates the church and the Pope meets with his peers as Currents continues after the break. Welcome back. The Prime Minister of Australia is ordering a countrywide investigation of state, religious and community groups following allegations of sex abuse. Australia's top Catholic leader, Cardinal George Pell of Sydney, is promising full cooperation.
The Royal Commission, so long resisted, is now to Cardinal Pell a welcome development.
We got nothing we want to hide.
For 20 years, he says, the Catholic Church has been grappling with the issues of sexual abuse.
We are not interested in denying the extent of misdoing in the Catholic Church.
But he also says it's been exaggerated.
Because there's a press campaign focused largely on us, it does not mean that we are largely the principal culprit.
He's pointed to his own involvement in rewriting the rules, saying the church no longer shifts suspected pedophile priests from diocese to diocese as they get found out.
Where that is done, it's against the protocols.
Like Cardinal Pell, Tony Abbott, a practicing Catholic, has welcomed an inquiry that will extend beyond their church.
We support it, we encourage it, we want it to do its work well.
I don't think we should be scapegoated.
For the senior policeman who blew the whistle, vindication.
You know, there may be some people in the clergy that didn't get a lot of sleep last night, and that's not always a bad thing.
Cardinal Pell reaffirmed that while the church rules now require the police to be called if there are allegations of abuse, the police are not told if a priest confesses to being an abuser.
The seal of confession is inviolable.
That, says this cop, has got to change.
I'm sure God would say a good Christian would go out, tell the police, save those children and make it stop.
First, though, an inquiry that could take years.
Meanwhile, the investigation of the sex scandal at the BBC is growing, with more top people leaving their jobs at the British broadcaster, at least temporarily. The boss, Mark Thompson, left the BBC for good in September as the news erupted that one of the network's biggest stars, Jimmy Savile, was a child abuser. Savile died last year. Now Thompson is taking over as the new chief executive of the New York Times, not worried that the scandal would follow him.
No, I believe that it will not in any way affect my job, which I'm starting right now as Chief Executive of the New York Times Company. Thank you.
In a recent interview, Mr. Thompson said he's a practicing Catholic who believes that the truths of the Christian faith are objective truths. He also said that to him, secularism seems to be on the decline around the world. The Pope's top ambassador in the U.S. sees a growing menace to religious liberty in our country because some influential Catholic public figures are opposed to church teachings. Archbishop Carlo Vigano says there is an intentional strategy underway to divide the church in America and then persecute it. The Archbishop cites the HHS mandate as a grave threat to Catholicism in the U.S. Meantime, the incoming Bishop of Lincoln, Nebraska, says the church will defy the mandate. Bishop James Conley says the church is not going to back down from its opposition to the government order, which forces Catholics to pay for drugs that cause abortions. All of the U.S. bishops are meeting today in Baltimore, and the Archbishop there, William Lori, is explaining that while the mandate is now law, the church can't live with it and will need plans to fight against it. Cardinal Timothy Dolan, the head of the Bishops' Conference and Archbishop of New York, says the church will never comply with the mandate. And the Archbishop of San Francisco, Salvatore Cordileone, is warning his brother bishops that Catholic teaching must not be seen as divided, especially on critical social issues. The Archbishop says too many people view issues politically rather than through the lens of the gospel. Well, spreading the gospel through new social media is another topic being studied at the bishops' meeting.
The voices of the many Catholics who are present in blogs, social networks, and other digital forums are reaching people who might not otherwise encounter the message of Jesus.
As the U.S. bishops gathered in Baltimore Sunday for their annual fall assembly, several of them sat down with Catholic bloggers. The program, simply called Bishops and Bloggers, was designed to give these internet communicators an opportunity to let the U.S. bishops understand the kind of messages they are trying to get across. It gave the bishops an idea of how the medium can reach a new demographic. Though many of the bishops admitted to being slow to embrace the technology, several have said they see the value of the blogs, interactive communication tools, and social networks. Others said they are evolving in their trust of the interactive nature of social networks, like Facebook and Twitter.
We're going to close out messages, and comments are open, but we screen those and we delete the ones that get a little nasty, but by doing that, and I'm hearing some of you tweet, somebody here is tweeting anyway, that the idea that this is not a one-way conversation. This is not just us putting out, what we want to say, that the whole purpose of social media is social, and that it be a conversation, and that we engage the people who are, responding to our tweets.
The bloggers tried to assure the bishops Their main goal is to spread the gospel and create a better understanding of Catholic social teaching. The bishop said they believe the new communication technology can be a great tool in evangelization. Both bishops and bloggers agreed that talking to each other face-to-face was a positive experience.
Really, there's something, that makes you just more honest or more human when you're looking into somebody else's face. So I think just this kind of when worlds collide experience has been really good, and that, whatever misunderstandings there were, again, everybody kind of got to say their piece and hopefully came to a better understanding, and everybody in the room was really interested in what the others had to say. So I thought that was really, I was actually very moved by it, to be honest with you.
In Baltimore, this is Chaz Muth for Catholic News Service.
One blogger even noted that Archbishop Fulton Sheen, the renowned television personality of 50 years ago, would have loved using today's tools. Meantime, Bishop DiMarzio raised the issue of retirement needs of longtime Bishops' Conference employees, urging compassion during the upcoming debate about reforms. And Holy Father is calling for an increase in resources devoted to retirees who can no longer care for themselves. These words coming as Pope Benedict paid a visit to people he calls his peers. He was at a Catholic nursing home in Rome. The Pope said it is important to reevaluate the role older people play in society. As a senior citizen himself, Benedict described the visit as one among his peers and reminded them that in the Bible, longevity is considered a blessing. It is nice to be an elder, the Pope said emphatically. The Pope received a nice surprise over the weekend. Dozens of choirs gathered in the Vatican's Paul VI Hall began singing when Benedict walked in. The Pope is a well-known music lover. The choirs are holding an annual meeting in Rome. The Pope thanked them and encouraged them to contribute their talents to the new evangelization. And the Bishop of Brooklyn and a bishop from China together in Flushing. Details as Currents continues after the break. The Vatican newspaper, reacting to last week's election, is calling on President Obama to be the president of all Americans and acknowledge the demands of the Catholic Church regarding the natural family, life, and religious liberty. The Vatican has become vocal about U.S. policy in recent months following enactment of the HHS mandate, which is seen as a threat to the Church's freedom. 4 years ago, the paper had called that election of Obama as a choice that unites Americans. Well, every 20 years, our presidential election coincides with China's selection of new leaders. They are on a 10-year cycle. Xi Jinping is the new head of the world's largest country, and analysts are saying both he and Mr. Obama face critical challenges. Trade and currency disputes are in the headlines, but a deeper distrust between the two countries is in danger of getting out of control. Relations between China and the Catholic Church are tense as persecutions of Christians there continue. Meantime, a leading archbishop with a keen understanding of China was in our diocese to celebrate a special mass with Bishop DiMarzio.
Today we celebrate the feast of the dedication of the Lateran Basilica in Rome, the first church built after Constantine legalized Christianity. And today, to celebrate that, we have had the honor of having Archbishop Savio Han Tai Sai with us. To do this, he's come from Rome, and we show our union with the Church Universal through his presence with us today.
When I came here, I thought it would be like an ordinary Mass, but then I was kind of surprised by how, special this moment was. Like after the hurricane, I'm just happy that he's here to comfort us in this time of trouble.
My visit is occasioned by two important events. One is the meeting of the Board of Directors of the Pontifical Mission Society. Another is about the plenary session of the Episcopal Conference here. But there's another thing I like to say, that I'm really very grateful for the church in America and for all the generous people. They really have great concern for other churches in other countries.
China, the church divided in two parts, official Catholic Church and the underground church. So the bishop says our church should be united together.
He used to teach in Hong Kong, and he used to teach my brother in Hong Kong. He still remember him, and he's very kind. He asked him how he's doing now, and he asked me how many years I've been here, how's your family. So very close, very personal. Like he cares for everyone. Even though I first met him.
He says he heard something very good about our parish. Our Chinese people, we cooperate with each other from Brooklyn and Queens. We helped each other, and especially in some big events, we helped each other to do things together. We are not separate. I think this is a very, very good encouragement for our parishioners.
Now we have such a huge Chinese family. The fact that we can look at each other, come to know each other, become servants in our Lord's vineyard is what this visit from Rome is allowing everyone to embrace.
And coming up next, the story of two young boys who helped change the world, as Currents continues. Welcome back. Late word from the U.S. Bishops' Conference in Baltimore. A statement on the economy has been voted down after sharp criticism that it was too vague. The document was titled, "The Hope of the Gospel in Difficult Economic Times." Well, during another very difficult time, the Second World War, a friendship between two boys seemed to end, but it didn't, and the world was changed forever.
As a young boy, Jerzy Kluger became close friends with a young boy named Karol Wojtyła, who back then was nicknamed Lolek. They were about 5 years old. They sat next to each other in class, played soccer, and enjoyed life in their hometown. But their friendship was cut short. Jerzy was Jewish, so during World War II, he and his family fled to avoid the Nazi regime. That young friendship is the basis of a book titled The Pope and I. Its author, Gianfranco de Simone, describes how after the war, the young boys thought that the other had been killed. But years later, their paths crossed again when Wojtyła was elected Pope. In fact, his first private audience was granted to his Jewish friend. Many of the good deeds that defined John Paul II as a child, he later exemplified as Pope. Things like the defense of the Jews, considering them brothers. Also the Polish phrase starsi bracia, which means older brothers. It's a phrase the Pope used as a small boy. One of the most moving moments in the book describes how one day the young Jewish boy walked into a church and waited for Karol as he was praying. That's when a woman scolded the young Jewish boy for being inside a church. At that time, Lolek, as he was nicknamed, raised his voice, turned towards the woman, saying, "Doesn't she know that we are all children of the same God?" He then turned to his friend and said, "Jews and Catholics pray to the same God." Kluger died on December 2011 at the age of 90. But he remembered how throughout his pontificate, John Paul II worked to improve the relationship between Jews and Christians. In April of 1986, he became the first pope to visit a synagogue. Then in 1994, his work triggered official diplomatic relations between the Holy See and Israel.
And that is all for tonight. Be sure to join us again on Wednesday night. We'll bring you the latest on the important bishops' meeting and the critical storm recovery. Until then, visit us online at currentsny.net. For all of us here at Currents, I'm Liz Faublas. Thank you for watching and have a good night.